everyone! Thanks so much for joining me today for a new tutorial. And I'm excited to be bringing you a project using new Gina K Designs stamps. This is the Graceful Greenery set, and I love the beautiful detail of the leafy frame that's included in this stamp set. The leafy frame would look beautiful stamped in the center of your card. However, I wanted to show you that you can stretch the use of a stamp set like this to create a totally different look by only partially stamping the image. Here you can see I've stamped the image along the top and the bottom portion of my card, basically only inking up half of the image and stamping it onto the bottom portion of my card, and then flipping the paper over and I stamped it again on the other side of my card. The other thing I'm going to be teaching you today is no-line watercoloring, and that's the focus of today's video. No-line watercoloring can be a bit daunting, especially if you've never tried it before. My hopes is that I'm breaking down the process for you as best as I possibly can and trying to slow things down so you can see the process that I went through to create this look. So before I start watercoloring, I'm going to show you here how I've already watercolored the bottom portion of my card panel. This will give you a reference point as I'm coloring to see how the leaves will finish up, because I'm going to repeat the exact same look along the bottom and the top of this card panel. One of the most important things about no-line watercoloring is to use the smallest brush you possibly have. So I'm going to use a number 0 round brush. When I watercolor like this, I really love using a water-based ink. So in this case, I'm using Antique Linen Distress Ink. And as I watercolor, I start with really light layers. So as you're seeing me watercolor right now, I'm taking a very light wash of a beautiful green color and I'm just spreading it along the whole entire leaf. Then, once I have that laid down, I'm going to start picking up darker colors of that green and gradually add that into my leaves. No matter what color I'm doing, in this case I'm using pink, I'm going to repeat that exact same process. So I'm now using a lighter version of the pink, and I'll blend that out, and then afterwards I'll come back in with a darker pink and just add more depth to the flower. But I'm not going to bring that all the way out to the edge. You'll notice as I blend these darker colors out, I'm only going about halfway across the entire image that I'm coloring. So in this case here, I'm coloring a few leaves, and I'm adding down the lightest color, making that nice wash of color, and then I'm bringing in the darker color and only fading that out to about halfway across the entire piece. This is going to give the look of depth to your image. It's going to give you that really nice dimension that you're going to want to have to create a realistic effect. And again, this isn't totally realistic. You can get as detailed or not detailed as you'd like. That's the joyous thing about watercoloring, is you can make it your own. You can make it really loose and impressionistic, or you could get really detailed and add so many detail layers that it literally looks like it's popping off the page. That's the fun part about watercoloring. Now, what you're seeing me do here is after I've added down some of my darker shading, I'm coming back in onto certain flowers and leaves of my image here and adding a wash of another color on top. This is cool. Like you'll notice on the purple leaves here, I added a wash of pink, particularly concentrated towards the opposite end of the darkest color that I had already put down. This is giving a really neat variation in the color tones. On some of the leaves, I did green with a wash of yellow back over top. In other cases, I did green with a wash of purple over top. It's just really is fun playing around with the different colors and seeing what kind of looks you can get. After all of my watercoloring was pretty much done, I came back in and added extra details, which included stems, lines for the leaves, dots on some of the florals. I'm really just adding some finishing details to my coloring, and these are totally optional. So our watercoloring is complete at this point, and I'm bringing in one of the sentiments from the Graceful Greenery stamp set. This is a kindness greeting. I really loved it. It's a beautiful script font, and I did mount it into my MISTI in a slight art. So it gives a slightly different look to the sentiment. That's one of the other cool things about stamps, is that you can maneuver them in different directions, different orientations. The clear stamps are really forgiving. I also pulled out a greeting from Simon Says Stamps Kind Flowers stamp set, and I stamped it twice with SEAFOAM ink to get a really nice dark teal. I love this color of ink. So after the stamping is complete, I'm ready to attach this down onto a Neenah Desert Storm card base. I wanted my panel to be slightly lifted off of the Desert Storm card base. So I cut a few pieces of white cardstock, a total of 4 white cardstock panels, and I'm attaching them to the back side of my watercolor panel. This is not only keeping the panel completely level so it's not warped or anything from all of the watercoloring, but it also adds just a little bit of dimension, a little less than foam tape, and it adds a really nice look. This watercoloring was so detailed and I really loved how it turned out so much that I kept the finishing details super simple, and all I added were a few moonshine sequins from Simon Says stamp. That's going to complete my no-line watercolor card using this new stamp set from Gina K Designs. I really hope that my breaking down the watercoloring process for you helped you get a better look at no-line watercoloring, and maybe it helps you approach this technique on your own. I know it can be daunting, it can be a little bit overwhelming, but really once you get into it, it's very therapeutic. It's a lot of fun and it gives you the opportunity to play with different colors and create the look of a watercolor masterpiece without needing to actually draw or paint and think about how these leaves should look. It's already thought out for you by using a light ink like Antique Linen Distress ink. That ink gets hidden once you put the watercolors over top, and you get an effect that is just completely gorgeous. Thanks so much for tuning in today and spending time with me. I hope you'll stop by my blog to get more information on this project, including still pictures and products used. You can subscribe for more weekly inspiration, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!